Hello everyone and welcome to another video. It's TheViper here, and today we're going to look at the Burgundians, one of the two new civilizations released with the Lords of the West DLC. We want to check out their unique features and try to predict how the civilization might play out competitively, and also how it might impact the meta in both 1v1 and team games. By looking at the technology tree, we can see that they are described as a cavalry civilization. Their economic upgrades are available one age earlier, meaning you can research technologies such as horse collar, double bit axe and wheelbarrow in the Dark Age, bowsaw, handcart in the Castle Age, and so on. This adds a very unique approach for the Burgundians, as you will have a lot more decisions to make in terms of how you want to develop your economy. You can even do guild nets, for example, in the Feudal Age, which makes your fishing ship work 25% faster. Stable technologies are 50% cheaper, and when you see the next bonus with the Cavalier being available in the Castle Age, it might sound very overpowered, but there are some compensations for that, which we will show in a little bit. The last civilization bonus is that their gunpowder units have 25% more attack. The unique unit is the Cavalier, a cavalry unit with a shock attack, and among the unique techs we find Burgundian vineyards and Flemish Revolution. Burgundian vineyards, costing 400 food and 300 gold, is a technology that will convert all food into gold at a 2:1 ratio. This means that if you have 2000 food, you will convert that to 1000 gold. And if you have 17,928 food, you will convert that to 8,964 gold. Just to make it clear. Keep in mind that this is a one-time use, so you have to use it very carefully. After this, your farmers will also be generating gold. It is a very small amount though, with roughly 45 villagers actively farming, generating the same amount of gold as one relic, which amounts to 1 gold every 2 seconds. For 800 food and 450 gold you get Flemish Revolution. Also a one-time research, and it upgrades all existing villagers to Flemish Militia. An infantry unit with 75 HP and 12 attack. It has +1 pierce and melee armor, gets affected by the infantry blacksmith upgrades, and also has a few attack bonuses, +12 against cavalry most notably. After this, you can also produce them from town centers with a cost of 60 food and 25 gold. For comparison, a champion costs 5 less gold, has 1 more attack, but also 5 HP less. The team bonus makes relics for yourself and your team also generate food on top of gold, but at a slightly lower rate with 2 food for every 3rd gold. Let's have a look at their tech tree to see where their strengths and weaknesses lie. For the archery range, you do have all the range attack upgrades, but do miss the last armor upgrade in the blacksmith, as well as arbalest and heavy cav archer. Even with that in mind, the only significant unit in the archery range is the hand cannoneer, with the 25% extra damage. In the early and mid game, you can still justify going archers and skirmishers, but you probably don't want to play any of these units except the skirmisher and hand cannoneer past the Castle Age. As you also lack bloodlines, cavalry archers should be avoided at all costs, with the no thumb ring just concluding a very lackluster archery range for the Burgundians. Their barracks is a little bit more competent, yet still not very impressive. You get squires, arson, the full halberdier and champion line with all the infantry armor and attack upgrades from the blacksmith, but no access to supplies nor eagle warriors. Looking at the stable, it doesn't really look all that impressive at first glance, but diving into the details, that changes fast. Keep in mind the civ bonus of a 50% discount on the stable technologies, and the big game changer here is that Cavalier, which is normally an Imperial Age technology, is available to the Burgundians in the Castle Age at a 50% discount. It sounds absolutely ridiculous, but lacking bloodlines, the only real benefit from Cavalier is 2 extra attack compared to a regular knight with bloodlines. The Knights of Lithuanians with 3 relics will therefore still beat a Burgundian Cavalier in the Castle Age. The biggest benefit of having Cavalier this early, however, is the transition to the Imperial Age. While others are researching Cavalier, you are researching Paladin at a discount, and will have a time window of a couple of minutes to deal massive damage, as the Paladin power spike is extremely strong. Even though you have all the cavalry upgrades in the blacksmith, the problem occurs as you hit late game, where everyone else has full upgrades, and that's where the lack of bloodlines means your Paladin are suddenly weaker than most others. It's going to be very interesting to see how the meta builds around this in the games involving the Burgundians. The siege workshop is bang average, with no access to siege rams, siege onagers, nor heavy scorpions, but at least they do have bomber cannons, which might be the most important siege unit in a lot of scenarios. Their water tech tree is also quite average. While they do have fast fires, elite cannon galleon and galleon, missing only heavy demos on their ship availability, the lack of important late game technologies such as shipwright and also dry dock can be very painful. Guild nets is, as mentioned, available in the Feudal Age, and 25% faster fishing ships in the Second Age can be massive on both water and hybrid maps. Another aspect about the civilization where I can't wait to see how the meta develops. We have now mentioned there are 3 gunpowder units in the hand cannoneer, bomber cannon and cannon galleon, so this is a good time to look at how the 25% extra damage plays out. A lot of units have bonus damage versus different classes on top of their base attack, and the interesting thing with this civ bonus is that it also applies on the bonus damage as well as the base damage. The hand cannoneer receives 25% extra bonus damage, but its attack is actually split up into separate parts, most notably having 17 pierce attack and 10 bonus attack against infantry. A Burgundian hand cannoneer therefore does about 7 more damage to a champion than a generic hand cannoneer, but only about 4 extra damage to a paladin. This means that you'll kill a champion in 3 shots instead of 4 and a paladin in 13 shots instead of 18, which are quite significant numbers. A bomber cannon would still need 3 shots to take out a trebuchet and 2 shots to take out an enemy bombard cannon. But they do enough extra damage to the point where just a little bit of extra damage from other units will be enough to finish a job instead of a last cannon shot. The Burgundian bombard cannon will also use 5 fewer shots to destroy a castle without armor or HP upgrades. The cannon galleon is a unit you will see less, but the bonus damage makes it as effective as a Spanish cannon galleon at destroying buildings. The university has everything except heated shot and siege engineers, including bomber towers, and the monastery is only lacking heresy among the very important techs, along with theocracy. You do have all the economy upgrades, and again you can research all of them 1 age earlier than with other civs. Guilds, for example, also counts as an economic upgrade, meaning you can reduce the trading fee to 15% in the castle age. At last, we look at their castle, where they have all the upgrades, and this is also where we find their unique unit. Coming in at 55 food and 55 gold, the Cavalier has 115 base HP, 8 attack and +2 pierce and melee armor. For comparison, a knight has 100 base HP, 10 attack and the same armor. The interesting thing about this unit is that it has a charge attack, a new mechanic introduced to AOE2 in the Lords of the West DLC. The way this works is that they will have an extra damage output for the first strike every 40 seconds. This pretty much means that after your first hit you will have a 40-second cooldown until the bonus damage appears again. The regular Cavalier has a charge attack bonus of +35, while the elite upgrade brings it all the way to +40. The elite upgrade does cost 1000 food and 800 gold and will also give an additional 30 HP and 3 extra base damage. So, how does this unit actually play out in a game? You will need a castle in order to produce it, so that does add another level of difficulty in getting to it, but once the castle is up, the unit produces in only 14 seconds. As a mounted unit, it is fairly mobile and it can one-shot units such as villagers, monks and most foot archers, meaning it is a really good hit-and-run melee unit. Through the games I've played so far, it's commonly seen to run into a base, snipe a villager, run back to heal and wait for the cooldown in order to receive the attack bonus again. On larger scale fights, it will still pack a serious punch, but once that charge attack is gone, it is a fairly average unit. I've personally found the best counter to be mobile range units, cavalry archers in particular, even though we since release have had a bug where the charge attack is doubled against the archer class, leading to quite some frustrating moments these last couple of weeks. Hey guys, Viper from the future here, or past for you, but I mean still more future than the other Viper you've been watching. Anyway, since I started recording this content, there has been a balance update to the game. The charge attack has been nerfed from +35 to +25 for the regular Cavalier, and from +45 to +30 for the elite Cavalier. All this does make the Cavalier less effective on the hit and run approach, and the biggest thing that has changed here is that the Cavalier will no longer one-shot villagers, and also most other archer units will survive the first hit. Monks, however, still die to one hit unless you have the Sanctity upgrade. This does make the Cavalier less effective in the hit and run approach, and it might actually be a fairly well balanced unit now. Only time really will tell, right? I'm still not a big fan of the charge mechanic, but I mean, let's see how everything develops, right? The Cavalier adjustments was the only thing that was addressed regarding the Burgundians in this patch. So yeah, let's just get back to the video. Going forward, I predict the power spikes to be the most scary thing about this civilization, particularly in team games from a pocket position. Due to the weak archery line, I don't think there will be a great 1v1 civ nor a good option on the flanks. I think on regular maps such as Arabia, you'll probably still prefer the top pocket picks such as Lithuanians and Franks, but I have a sneaky suspicion that the Burgundians could be among the top picks on hybrid maps. As a quick note, the pocket is a player in between allies, while the flanks are the players furthest to the sides on their teams. And even though I do think they'll be on the lower half of 1v1s, There is still a lot of potential there with the unique units still being figured out and the powerful stable. They could also be a good option for Arena and Black Forest, as you can utilize the early economy upgrades because you'll generally be more safe on those types of maps. On water maps, they're probably going to be completely average and unlikely to be seen often in both 1v1s and team games. The cheaper stable upgrades and the economy upgrades being available 1 age earlier, guild nets in particular, is where I think the Burgundians will shine, especially on hybrid maps where you might be able to fish uninterrupted. Here you can further benefit from the combination of your bonuses, possibly reaching Imperial Age and Paladin before others even have the Cavalier upgrade. Overall, the Burgundians are one of the most unique civilizations in the game. I think they are quite an average civ, mostly relying on power spikes and specific maps to shine, as I don't think their late game necessarily is very strong either. I will be happy to be proven wrong though as the meta develops, but I am also pretty sure we'll see some balance changes coming to the civilization very shortly. Especially to the Cavalier, which I must admit I'm not a big fan of at the moment. I personally also dislike Flemish Revolution, as I view it as a game-ending technology, where upon researching it you pretty much either win or lose the game very shortly after. With that said, I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you leave a like if you did, it really helps out with the YouTube algorithm, and subscribe for more videos like this. A look at Sicilians is coming up very shortly, and also planning to make a video where I'll give a lot of small tips and hints where I'll hopefully be able to help you improve and become a little bit more efficient in the game. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the very next video.